Chapter 1827. The schadenfreude expression on Yi Yi's face instantly distorted into an extremely awful expression, the color draining from her face. That's impossible. Yi Wanwan and Si Yian? How could that little bitch, Yi Wanwan, become associated with the patriarch of the Si family? Yi looked at the perfectly matching, handsome, and beautiful couple standing together on the dazzling crystal platform at the other end of the rose carpet. Simply beautiful like characters who stepped out of a painting. The disbelief and jealousy in her eyes nearly caused her heart to explode. Next to them, Gu Yuez's level of shock obviously wasn't any less than Yi Yi's. He had always thought that Yi Wanwan should be groveling with gratitude that he was still willing to marry her despite her history as Si Yihan's lover. Never would Gu Yueza have expected Si Yihan to publicly say that Yi Wanwan was his girlfriend. No way would Si Yihan go this far for a lover unless he really considered Yi Wanwan as a proper girlfriend. Yi Wanwan had been telling the truth from start to end. She really didn't care about him at all anymore. Gu Yuez's face turned ashen. He felt like the bouquet of flowers in his arms was a pile of hot potatoes, and the romantic decorations around them were a burning sea that made him unbearably embarrassed. Not to mention the mocking gazes and snickers that surrounded him. This confident and meticulously planned proposal turned into a complete joke. Damn, so handsome. Fu Mingxi was dazed, and despair directly overcame him after seeing Si Yihan's looks for himself. It was only after witnessing it for himself that he understood that Gong Su's description wasn't an exaggeration. It was actually too humble. This man could seriously use his face to murder someone. No wonder the president was head over heels captivated by him. No, I don't agree. I don't agree to this marriage. Fu Mingxi made one last dying struggle. Yi Mufan shoved him to the side with his shoulders. Who are you to disagree? My sister and brother-in-law are a match made in heaven. So who cares if you disagree? Shoo, as my sister's most respected and loved brother, I will make the decision to agree to this marriage. Yi Mufan then excitedly mused. My sister is simply too awesome. His brother-in-law was actually Si Yihan. Si Yihan was his brother-in-law. While everyone was amazed by Si Yihan publicizing his relationship with Yi Wanwan, there was someone more astonished by the audience. Strictly speaking, they were horrified. Big Dipper intently stared at the face of the man in front of his president, his eyes nearly falling out from shock. Shit. LL Lord Azura. Isn't this Lord Azura? Seven Star was just as shocked, but quickly regained his wits. They just look alike. They aren't the same person. Big Dipper pointed at the man's face. Their looks are clearly identical. Only their hair color is different. I previously heard Sis Fong mentioning that the person she likes looks very similar to Lord Azura. This man is probably him. Big Dipper gulped. I thought Sis Fong was randomly making it up, but this person actually exists? Damn. Seeing Si Yihan wearing Lord Azura's face and saying Sis Fong is his girlfriend. It's simply too horrifying. Horrifying. I'm too stunned. The people around them had exploded into an uproar, but as the protagonist of this matter, Yi Wanwan seemed to be absorbed in her own world and had her eyes solely focused on the man in front of her. Chapter 1828. The girl lowered her gaze and chuckled gently all of a sudden. The corners of her beautiful eyes turned up slightly with mockery and nonchalance as she said, "Appearing so soon? Earlier than I expected." All the noise receded from the man's ears, only leaving behind her moving lips and her voice. Yi Wanwan smiled and languidly continued. I thought you would wait to show up until after my wedding or my child's 1-month-old birthday, or perhaps after I give birth to my second child. Si Yihan. The man's cool eyes evidently narrowed, frostiness leaking out. Of course I'd appear, because your wedding, your child's 1-month-old birthday, and your second child could only be with me. Although the man said only half of what he meant. As usual, Yi Wanwan tacitly understood the words he left unsaid and aloofly said, Mr. C, it'd be best to refrain from being so overconfident. When I left to search for you these past few months, I visited some places and had some fun. I suddenly discovered that the previous me truly observed the sky from the bottom of a well and thought the sky above me was all the scenery the world possessed. Now, though, I've realized that there's so much beautiful scenery in the outside world. The man felt both love and hatred as he watched her cheerful expression. He lowered his voice and leaned close to her with a faint smile. Is that so? Lots of beautiful scenery outside. The second the man approached, his cosmos-like eyes invaded all of her senses, causing her to nearly break. She inwardly cursed before hastily retreating a step to dodge his honeypot trap. Zhou Tao approached them at this moment and cautiously said, Ahem, President C, there are more and more reporters and fans gathered here. So, should you, and CEO, move somewhere else to publicly display your affection? Yuan glanced at Zhou Tao and cleared her throat. Understood. Yuan and Si Yihin were escorted by several bodyguards out of the crowd, leaving behind the Ashen Gu Yueza and his romantic proposal scene, as well as Yi surrounded by reporters. Although the senior managers from Si Yihin's company were thirsting for gossip, they knew this wasn't a good time to be a third wheel, so they all left successively, and only 7-Star and Big Dipper followed Yuan to protect her. An hour later, at a secluded manor in Imperial City, Yuan had never visited this place. It was probably another property that belonged to Si Yihin. Behind them, Big Dipper secretly whispered to 7-Star, Hey, old 7, say, Si Yihin and Lord Azura look identical. So who does Sis Feng actually like? Big Dipper, Sis Feng was with Si Yihin while she was in China. I think I realized something. Sis Feng knew Si Yihin first. So Lord Azura is this man's substitute? Big Dipper, wait. I realized something else. Sis Feng actually dated a normal person from China? Wouldn't her hunt be too broad in scope? So Sis Feng disappeared for so long and secretly ran off to China because she got bored of the independent state and came for some novelty in China? Big Dipper, wait. I realized something else. So did Sis Feng come to China this time for business on the surface, but private matters in reality? She came to rekindle her old flame? Shut up, Yuan snapped. Okay. Yuan ordered Big Dipper and 7-Star to wait outside. Chapter 1829 finally. Only Yuan and Si Yihin were left in the living room. Yuan sat down on the sofa. The man took off his jacket and hung it on the coat rack. He straightened his cuffs before walking toward the girl. What do you want to drink? Yuan studied his calm face and clicked her tongue in wonder, propping her chin on her hand. It's been so long since we've seen each other. Shouldn't this be a dance of heaven's lightning and earth's lava? If you want, I can accommodate. Yuan's expression darkened, and she lost interest in keeping up this pretense and placed down her hand, leaning back on the sofa. She frankly asked, Why did you replace my memory? Si Yihin's face imperceptibly started. It appeared she really did find out. You know, Si Yihin said. Yuan looked at the man's unchanged expression, and fury involuntarily rose in her eyes. He didn't show any panic or guilt, like nothing was wrong with what he did. She looked for him and investigated the matter for so long in search of the truth and reason, but all she got from waiting so long was this nonchalant attitude. Why? Give me an explanation. Yuan shouted. A flame ignited in her lucid eyes as she asked, Si Yihin, just what have you been treating me as all this time? She thought she finally saw through him and understood him in this lifetime. She thought everything in the past was her own misunderstanding, and she finally saw the genuine him. She didn't expect to have never understood this person at all. My most beloved person, Si Yihin replied. Yuan was first taken back before laughter pealed out of her. Si Yihin, don't you find it ridiculous to still say something like this even now? Love? If you love someone, would you erase her existence? Would you transform her into a different person and turn her into your captive slave? Faced with her fury, the man was akin to a pool of dead water and continued. Yuan is indeed my most beloved person. Yuan knitted her brows and wanted to say something when a thought occurred to her. You mean the one you love is... Yuan, not me, am I right? If that was the case, everything would make sense. The person that Si Yihan liked and loved dearly was Yuan, but Yuan died in that accident, so he had to find someone who looked similar to Yuan and transform her into Yuan. At that thought, Yuan felt bone-chillingly horrified. So I've merely been a substitute all along. This explanation would indeed be flawless. A substitute? An indescribable emotion surfaced in Si Yihan's eyes as he looked at her. Your thoughts are very interesting. Yuan frowned. Just what do you want to say? Yuan originally thought that the person Si Yihan loved was Yuan from the Yi family who died long ago. Hence, because she looked similar to Yuan, he intentionally erased her memory and turned her into a substitute, but Si Yihan's answer indicated something else. 50. Why did Si Yihan erase her memory then? Let me tell you a story. 51 Yihan sat down on the sofa and calmly said, in truth, the Si family in China is merely a tiny branch that was abandoned. The true main branch of the Si family is located in a place named the Independent State. 1. Also an expression of a spark of desire between a man and woman. Chapter 1830, The Independent State. Yuan stared at Si Yihan, not knowing what he meant. There's a rule in the main branch of the Si clan in the Independent State that has been passed down since ancient times. All of the Si family's newborn children are banished to different countries to undergo hardening and growth. And I'm one of those banished members, Si Yihan explained. Yuan knew about this already, but didn't understand why Si Yihan was telling her this now. Moreover, since Si Yihan said this, it directly proved that Si Yihan was deeply connected to the Independent State. And I was brought back to the main branch after I became of age. I have some fame in the Independent State. There's one rule in the Independent State. They prohibit the residents of the Independent State from marrying outsiders, regardless of who it is. However, I violated this rule. Because of this, I had to erase all of your memories and have you become Yuan. This was the only way to prevent the Si family of the Independent State from discovering your whereabouts. Hence, you could only become Yuan, Si Yihan softly said to her. Yuan was startled. Si Yihan was saying they already got married while he was in China before her memory was erased. As a result, she and Si Yihan suffered from the pursuit of the ancient Si clan from the Independent State. It was also because of this that Si Yihan erased her memory and disguised her as Yuan. This way, they could deceive the Si clan of the Independent State and ensure her safety. Back in the Independent State, Lord Azura mentioned to her that the ancient Si clan had a new emerging star named Si Yihan who had very similar looks to Lord Azura. So did Lord Azura tell the truth? Was Si Yihan really that new star from the ancient Si clan? The ancient Si clan holds immense power, so I had no choice but to erase your memory. This way, the Si family wouldn't be able to find you, and I left without saying goodbye because I didn't want to bring harm to you, Si Yihan replied. Then why did you appear now? Aren't you afraid of the ancient Si clan? Yuan stared at him intently. Because I don't want to be attending your wedding the next time I see you. Si Yihan calmly met her eyes. Yuan choked and cleared her throat before meaningfully saying, ignoring that for now, I have a question for you. Do you know Lord Azura of the Independent State? I don't know him, but I've heard of him, Si Yihan answered after a pause. Oh, Yuan was pensive. All right, then from now on, I'll go wherever you go. It's too dangerous to take you with me. Give me some time, Si Yihan said. I'll properly deal with my business with the ancient Si clan. Before Yuan could reply, Si Yihan took out a ring and put on Yuan's finger. What is this? Yuan curiously asked, examining the ring. This ring originally belonged to you. As for what it symbolizes, I don't know, Si Yihan said. When Si Yihan met Yuan for the first time in Azura's branch, she was wearing this ring and appeared to treasure this ring a lot. After erasing Yuan's memory, Si Yihan kept this ring safe for her, but it was time to return it to her now. The Independent State situation had become increasingly complicated and confusing, and his plan also might not succeed. Chapter 1831. If this ring remained with him and something went amiss, he might not have the chance to personally return it to her. Before Yu Wanwan could say anything else, Si Yihan answered a call and seemed a bit nervous. When Si Yihan hung up, he looked at her intently with his unfathomable eyes. "Wait for me in China. I will come back very soon." "Okay, I'll wait for you in China," Yu Wanwan said with great compliance. Then Si Yihan stood up and left, disappearing without a trace in a few breaths. The corners of Yu Wanwan's mouth turned up with an inexplicable smile as she watched Si Yihan leaving. It had to be said that Si Yihan's acting skills truly bulldozed the majority of the Best Actor winners. Even she almost got fooled by him. All of Si Yihan's excuses were perfect and flawless, and nobody could discover a hole in them. Yu Wanwan herself believed him, almost. However, Si Yihan did slip and lost to Yu Wanwan's incredibly careless question. It might have looked like Yu Wanwan was just offhandedly asking Si Yihan if he knew Lord Azura, but his answer was very interesting. "I don't know him, but I've heard of him." Si Yihan neglected an extremely unremarkable detail. Where did Lord Azura come from? The independent state. But Si Yihan shouldn't have known she went to the independent state at all. When she said Lord Azura's name, though, Si Yihan didn't react abnormally and answered without missing a beat. If Si Yihan supposedly didn't know she visited the independent state, why wasn't he surprised when she said Lord Azura's name? In other words, Si Yihan knew she was in the independent state prior to this, or else he wouldn't have reacted that way. Still, Yu Wanwan admired Si Yihan very much. Si Yihan's logic was meticulous, and it was difficult to find flaws, but Si Yihan ended up letting something slip in some seemingly unimportant small talk. What was more unfortunate was that Si Yihan didn't know Yi Wanwan discovered that she was worryless Nye from the Nye family. Si Yihan said they were hunted by the ancient Sea clan because he married an outsider. However, Yu Wanwan was worryless Nye to begin with, the daughter of the Nye family, one of the independent state's 4 great clans, not the outsider that Si Yihan claimed she was. She learned too many things during her time in the independent state, but Si Yihan didn't know this. In Si Yihan's mind, she was clueless, so he regrettably miscalculated. The second Si Yihan decided to use this excuse, he exposed himself. Yu Wanwan also knew that everything Si Yihan said just now was probably false too. The fact that she was his wife before her memory was erased, and how the ancient Si clan hunted down her and Si Yihan. It was all bogus. If she really got married to Si Yihan, the independent state would have definitely had information about this. Also, she was worryless Nye, a resident of the independent state, not the outsider that Si Yihan claimed she was. Hence, the ancient Si clan should have been joyous about a marriage between the Nye family and the ancient Si clan. So why would they hunt her and Si Yihan down? As for how Si Yihan urged her to wait for him in China before he left, that was the only real part. Yu Wanwan was certain that Si Yihan was Lord Azura. Lord Azura reclaimed his identity as Si Yihan and specifically came to China this time to make her believe that Si Yihan and Lord Azura weren't the same person, to urge her to remain in China and to not return to the independent state again. By now, Yu Wanwan was almost overwhelmed from her curiosity about what happened back then. Why did Si Yihan mask her memory, and why? Why did Si Yihan want her to stay away from the independent state? Chapter 1832 soon. Yu Wanwan also left and returned to Stars Entertainment's branch office. After greeting Zhou Tao and the others, Yu Wanwan sat in the office and inspected the ring that Si Yihan gave to her. Yu Wanwan played with the ring in her hand. Whether it was the material or the workmanship, it was very unusual, and there was an extremely inconspicuous stalk of wheat engraved on the inside of the ring. Si Yihan said this ring belonged to her, which was probably the truth. There was no point for him to pull out a ring to deceive her. Aside from knowing she was the owner of this ring, he was clueless about its symbol, use, and everything else. Minutes later, Yu Wanwan put the ring on her finger. Perhaps it was just a normal ring that she wore before she lost her memory, and there wasn't anything worth studying. Yu Wanwan didn't pay it too much heed. At the same time, at some location in Imperial City, a middle-aged man dialed a number. "I've discovered the whereabouts of the ring," the middle-aged man said into the phone. A cool voice came from the other end. "Is that so? I didn't expect that ring was in Lord Azura's possession all along. However, Lord Azura has returned the ring to her, and it appears both of them don't know the ring's use. The other speaker was silent for a long time before they said, "Bring the ring back." Understood. The middle-aged man hung up after receiving the order. On the other hand, at the sea residence, Qin Ruashi's expression was dark as she read the news that blazed through the internet. She originally thought Si Yihan was dead already, but to her surprise, he appeared in China again fine and well. Si Yihan went missing for so long, and the current Si family was now the domain of her, Qin Ruashi. So why did Si Yihan have to return at this time? However, even if Si Yihan was back, he shouldn't delusionally think about regaining control over the Si family. However, if Si Yihan really wanted to return to the Si family and seize control over the Si family again, it wouldn't be an easy matter. Bring that woman here. Qin Ruashi turned to the captain of the hidden guards, standing to the side, and made the order a moment later. The young man nodded and turned to leave. At that moment, Si Yihan and Lin Kei were sitting in the private room of a coffee house with extremely high privacy and drinking the coffee that had just been served. Say, ninth brother, well, that ugly freak. Ninth sister, believe you? Lin Kei asked after taking a sip of coffee and looked at the expressionless Si Yihan. Si Yihan glanced at Lin Kei, his unfathomable eyes serene without a single ripple. I don't know. What? Lin Kei nearly spat out the coffee he just drank. Si Yihan actually had no idea whether the story they took so much time fabricating was enough to scare Yuan Wan. It should be fine. Si Yihan sounded apathetic. Lin Kei thought about it for a moment before nodding. He said, "That's true. What you said was nearly perfect without any holes, ninth brother. So that ugly freak, ninth sister, must think you and Lord Azura are two different people. This way, ninth sister will definitely wait for you in China and won't head to the independent state again." An indescribable emotion surfaced in Si Yihan's eyes. If Yuan Wan was in the independent state, he would be able to see her anytime. Chapter 1833, however, the independent state was truly too dangerous. Moreover, she was born and raised in the independent state, so despite her memory being masked, if she stayed in the independent state for a long time, the people and things she came in contact with would inevitably cause her to remember. He absolutely wouldn't allow her to remember the past. That torturous memory and past were truly too cruel for her. However, ninth brother, by making a public appearance as Si Yihan, you must have alerted the Si family, right? Lin Kei turned to look at Si Yihan after a long while. Yes, Si Yihan replied. So I'm thinking, will those higher-ups of the Si family think you came back to grapple for control over the Si family again after seeing your return? They might not dare to attack you, but I think they might abduct ninth sister and use her to threaten you, Lin Kei said after a moment of thought. This possibility was too great. He would do it if it was him. After all, Si Yihan continued to say Yuan Wan was his most beloved woman, so it would be the smartest option to use Si Yihan's most beloved woman to threaten and even control him. Before I left people behind to monitor the Si family, Si Yihan responded aloofly. Si Yihan might not bear many attachments toward the Si family, but grandmother was there still. However, he didn't want to act against the Si family, so he left some elite members of Azura standing guard near the Si residence to guarantee grandmother's safety before he left. If those higher-ups of the Si family intended to do anything nefarious toward grandmother, they would be annihilated. All right, you're prudent and thoughtful, ninth brother. This way, it'd be pretty impossible even if they wanted to harm ninth sister. However, speaking of which, ninth sister is the president of the Fearless Alliance now. If those fools from the Si family dared to harm ninth sister in any way, the people under her would wipe out the entire Si family before those elites from Azura need to act. Haha, I hope those fools won't do anything idiotic. At the same time, Yuan Wan and Big Dipper, 7-star, First Elder, and Third Elder left Stars Entertainment and prepared to drive back to Golden Seas. Sis Feng, Fu Mingxi, that punk, was screaming about wanting to hang himself, and commits suicide to sacrifice himself for love, but I managed to stop him. What should we do about him? Big Dipper said to Yi Wanwan in the car. Hang himself and commit suicide. Oh, right. Fu Mingxi also threatened that he'd exterminate the Xi family and would kill whoever tried to steal you from him. Ah, he's beyond any cure. Big Dipper sighed. Second Elder's grandson was truly an expert. Not only did he have a glass heart, but he was also a shameless thing. Even Big Dipper was scared of him. It appears Fu Mingxi inherited his grandpa's fine tradition of shamelessness. First Elder ridiculed from the shotgun seat. All the elders of the Fearless Alliance had this kind of relationship. Anyone would want to hit a person who was down whenever the chance arose, and Yuan had long since gotten used to this. Before Yuan could say anything, the driver, Third Elder, suddenly slammed on the brakes. Big Dipper, who was sitting on the rightmost seat, lost his balance and nearly flew out of the car, but thankfully, the car door was sturdy enough. What kind of driving is this? Which driving school did you graduate from? You and your motherfucking driving. I'm gonna stomp the gas and kill you. Third Elder rolled down the window and angrily shouted at the small truck that blocked their path ahead. Chapter 1834. Big Dipper steadied himself and gave Third Elder a thumbs up. I can tell you're an experienced driver. Third Elder. A dozen or so men exited from the small truck in front of them and marched toward them, surrounding their car. Damn, what do they want? Are all the drivers so violent here and want to start fighting without a word? Big Dipper looked at the dozen people in front of them, bewildered. In this place, drivers bring fighters with them? Aren't the drivers here too vicious? Seven Star glanced at Big Dipper. They're obviously here to look for trouble. Look for trouble. Big Dipper jolted fiercely, and his expression shifted. It's always been us who look for trouble. I've never run into someone who came to seek trouble. If I don't beat them to shit today, my name isn't Big Dipper. Big Dipper went to open the door and go out, but was stopped by Yuan. Yuan saw two familiar faces amongst that group of men. If she was right, these people were most likely the Xi family's hidden guards. Bang! A second later, the car doors were opened by the men in black's leader, a middle-aged man. Come out, the man ordered aloofly as he glanced at Yuan. Yuan's lips turned up with a bone-chilling smirk. How interesting. When she first returned to China from the independent state, she planned to uproot the entire Xi family. But since Xi Yihan came back, she thought Xi Yihan could take care of it himself, so she didn't do anything. Now, though, Xi Yihan probably fled back to the independent state and hadn't gotten involved with the Xi family. She didn't provoke the higher-ups from the Xi family, but they delivered themselves to her doorstep. Where did you freaking come from? Do you know who I am? Big Dipper's temper erupted instantly. I'll say it again. All of you get out. Impatience surfaced in the leader's eyes. Before Big Dipper could respond, Yuan walked out. Big Dipper and Seven Star hastily followed her out. Get in. The men quickly stuffed Yuan and her group into the truck. Big Dipper was dumbfounded by Yuan's complete lack of resistance. What was she doing? Since Sis Feng didn't attack, should he attack? Why shouldn't he attack, though? But if he attacked without Sis Feng's orders? This was freaking the biggest dilemma of the century. And so, in the midst of his inner turmoil, the conflicted Big Dipper was stuffed into the back of the truck as well. Inside the pitch-black trunk, they could feel the truck moving rapidly. Sis Feng, why didn't we fight them? Big Dipper was bewildered. He was the tyrant of the independent state, Big Dipper. So how could he get abducted and stuffed inside the trunk of a truck by a group of trash? If word of this freaking got back to the independent state, how could he live from now on? What would happen to his reputation in the independent state? Sis Feng must have had her reasons for not attacking, Seven Star replied. What reason could there be? This is too humiliating. After this humiliating event, it'll be very hard for me to face my mom, who's accepting treatment at the hospital after her car accident. Seven Star, Yuan, First Elder, Third Elder, no need to act rashly. These people were targeting me, so just act according to my plan, Yuan instructed. She'd like to see what kind of game the Xi family higher-ups were playing. Chapter 1835. An unknown amount of time passed before the truck finally stopped shaking and slowed to a stop. Soon, the trunk was opened and they were taken out. After exiting the truck, Yi Wanwan inspected her surroundings. The truck had directly entered the C residence. Yi Wanwan was very familiar with the C residence by now, and she recognized this area to be the C residence's discipline area used for imprisonment and interrogation. Damn, where are we? Big Dipper examined his surroundings. Quiet. Several hidden guards went up and pushed Yi Wanwan and her group into the interrogation room. After throwing them into the interrogation room, the hidden guards exited and locked the door securely. In the interrogation room, First Elder and Third Elder stared at each other, while Big Dipper turned to Yi Wanwan and asked, "Sis phone, just what's going on? How dare these people treat us like criminals?" Yi Wanwan smiled faintly, but didn't answer. Before she went to the independent state, she learned about the existence of Mr. Eric from C. Mingli and the others. But she had no idea who this Eric was, and what his objective was for helping C. Mingli and the others make a comeback. Now, though, why didn't she turn their own trick against them and see if she could lure that Eric into her trap? No need to panic. Just watch me for instructions, Yi Wanwan aloofly replied at last. The mere C family naturally wasn't enough to imprison them, but Yi Wanwan didn't put up any resistance because she wanted to infiltrate the C residence and meet the Mr. Eric that C. Mingli mentioned. A long while later, the interrogation room door was opened and a middle-aged man marched inside and sat across from them. "Allow me to introduce myself. I'm the new captain of the C family's hidden guards." The middle-aged man greeted them while examining Yi Wanwan. "Then I don't need to introduce myself, right? You should know who I am." Yi Wanwan met the man's eyes. The man snorted. "Of course you don't. Yi Wanwan, Miss Wanwan, once the mistress of the C family. Since you know who I am, where did you get the nerve to abduct me?" Yi Wanwan asked. Miss Yi, I'm merely working for the C family. I hope you can cooperate with me, and we'll make it hard on everyone." "I'd like to ask, where is C Yin?" The man asked with a smirk. Yi Wanwan was pensive. It was similar to her guess. These higher-ups of the C family abducted her because of C Yin. C Yin is your C family's patriarch, so why are you asking me instead? Yi Wanwan nonchalantly asked. "The C family's patriarch?" The man snorted in contempt. "That was true a lifetime ago. Miss Yi, I'm advising you to cooperate obediently and make C Yin show himself. Otherwise, your fate will be rather tragic." "What? The C family is low on manpower nowadays? Why did they make a minor captain of the hidden guard like you interrogate me?" Yi Wanwan retorted apathetically. The man's expression shifted. Did you think our hands are tied just because you won't tell? You'll obediently open your mouth eventually." Then he snorted and clapped his hands. A second later, a young man was dragged inside by several hidden guards. "And master?" The young man was shocked when he saw Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows. The man carted inside was 11, whom she hadn't seen in a while. Chapter 1836. Yi Wanwan was startled when she saw 11. She originally thought 11 had left the C family a long time ago, but didn't expect him to have stayed behind. "Master, why are you here?" 11 looked stunned and incredulous. Now isn't the time for your reunion." The captain of the hidden guard snorted as he watched Yi Wanwan and 11. Yi Wanwan turned to the captain. "Why did he bring 11 here?" Miss Yi, we're aware that you personally taught 11 yourself, so he was your disciple basically. The relationship between a master and a disciple shouldn't be too weak, right? So, if Missy can cooperate with us and tell us where C Yihin is and lure him out, I can guarantee the safety of you and your cohort, including 11. How about it? The captain proposed with a chuckle. However, Yi Wanwan remained expressionless. A moment later, she stared at the captain and aloofly asked, "And if I'm unwilling to cooperate, what then?" "Unwilling." A cold glint flashed through the captain's eyes, and he immediately grasped 11 by his neck. "If you're unwilling, then I'll kill your disciple first. Do you want to see 11 die in front of you, Miss Yi?" Interesting. This time it was Yi Wanwan's eyes that glinted frostily. No one has ever dared to threaten me like this. Master, disregard me. 11's face swelled red as he looked at Yuan. Before 11 could say anything else, Yuan gave 7-Star a look. 7-Star shot up, and before anyone could see his movements, the captain of the hidden guard flew into the air with a howl in pain and harshly crashed into the wall. 11 looked surprised, an inscrutable emotion surfacing in his eyes. Soon, the interrogation room door slammed open. The enormous commotion in the room led dozens of C family hidden guards there. Captain, seeing their captain curled into a ball with an expression of agony, several hidden guards darted forward and helped their captain up. Seize them! The captain furiously shouted when he regained his wits a long while later. Yuan and her group didn't put up any resistance and allowed the hidden guards to throw them into the cell. In the dim and damp cell, 11 guiltily looked at Yuan. Master, it's all my fault. Yuan smiled faintly. It's not your fault. If they were willing, they could leave the C Residence's prison any time they wanted. Master, didn't you say you left China? Why did you come back? 11 asked her. Yuan shook her head. This matter was too complicated to explain. All right. Master, did you find Patriarch? 11 voiced another question. I don't have any accurate news, Yuan replied. No way. Master, they said there's a great possibility the Patriarch died outside after going missing, but I absolutely don't believe it. How could the Patriarch have died? That's impossible, 11 exclaimed with a frown. Suddenly, a weak and emotional voice rang out from a corner of the prison. Is it you, Miss Wan? Chapter 1837. Shit. There's someone else here. Big Dipper jolted in fright. Yuan was startled. This voice wasn't unfamiliar. Sui, Yuan asked with a frown. Miss Wan, it really is you. Su Yi's voice was heard again. Steward Su is imprisoned in another cell, 11 quietly explained. Yuan couldn't help but find it strange. With Su Yi's intelligence, he should have left the C family very quickly after disaster struck. Moreover, with the power of Su Yi's clan, nothing should have happened to him. So why was he now imprisoned? Miss Wan, how did you get captured by them? Su, he had been imprisoned for more than 2 months, so he was utterly clueless about the events of the outside world. You didn't leave the C family? Yuan asked instead of answering Su Yi's question. Su, he promptly sighed. He didn't get imprisoned because of the C family's misfortune. It was because he offended several of the C family's higher-ups, so he was locked there to reflect on his mistakes. He should be released in a few days. However, the Patriarch had been missing for many months, and Su he didn't hold much emotion toward the current C family, so he would probably leave the C family for good after being released. Miss Wan, you shouldn't have come back, Su Yi sighed after a long while. The current C family wasn't the previous C family anymore. The current C family had been completely usurped by Qin Ruashi and her faction. Back when Ninth Master was still there, Yuan offended nearly all of the C family's higher-ups, and Qin Ruashi had a bone-deep hatred for her. Now that Yuan had returned, how could Qin Ruashi and her cohort spare Yuan? Master, do you really not know where the Patriarch is? If Patriarch is willing to appear, Qin Ruashi and those higher-ups wouldn't dare to act so arrogantly. The Patriarch would definitely know how to fix the C family and mete out deserved punishments to those traitors. 11 anxiously interjected. That's impossible. Ninth Master's been missing for too long, so Qin Ruashi and those higher-ups have gained complete control over the C family. Even if Ninth Master appeared now, there's nothing he can do, Su Yi rebutted helplessly. He also hoped for Ninth Master to return, but unfortunately, the C family had completely entered the possession of Qin Ruashi and her cohort, so what could happen even if Ninth Master returned? No one in the C family would obey Ninth Master's orders anymore. Steward Su, you're just bolstering their morale and reducing our courage. Do you think the Patriarch can't take care of Qin Ruashi and those higher-ups? 11 was displeased. 11, you know the current situation full well. What? Do you think Ninth Master would have a method to overpower the current C family, even if he returned? Su Yi felt feeble. Steward Su, the sea family back then, was merely a bucket of loose sand and divided into individual factions. But Ninth Master also managed to unite and govern the entire sea family after his return. 11 then turned to Yi Wanwan. Master, you must know where Ninth Master is and can make Ninth Master come back. As long as Ninth Master returns, the sea family will definitely return to how it was in the past. This is why you could only get by as the captain of the hidden guards in the sea family back then with this intelligence of yours. 11, Su Yi mocked. What are you saying, Steward Su? Do you think Ninth Master can't reform the current sea family? 11 sounded indignant. Although I don't want to admit it, that's obviously the way it is. Am I wrong? Chapter 1838. Su Yi, just afraid of Qin Ruashi and her group. You merely defied the higher-ups, so you'll be fine and will be released in a few days. You want nothing more than for the Patriarch to never return so that you can just dust yourself off and leave with no problems. But what about my master? 11 shouted coldly. 11, you're just a man of brawn with nothing but air in your head. You know absolutely nothing about assessing the circumstances. After I leave, I'll naturally figure out a way to rescue Miss Wanwan. Su Yi chortled. Big Dipper and 7 Star met each other's eyes. These two embodied the saying, even when right, a scholar can never win an argument with a military man. What's there to argue about? It's just a lousy prison. It'd be a piece of cake for us to leave if we wanted. 11, do you know Eric? Yi Wanwan asked him after a while. 11 nodded. Mr. Eric? I know him. He's a supporter of Qin Ruashi and seemingly, but I've never seen him. He's pretty mysterious, Master. You're not afraid of Eric, right? I believe Ninth Master can drag him out as long as he comes back. Mr. Eric? Su Yi's surprised voice was heard from the other end of the prison. Qin Ruashi and Si Mingli actually have more supporters? I've never heard of him. What's going on, Miss Wanwan? Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows. Ever since she was captured, whether it was Qin Ruashi or that Mr. Eric, they hadn't made an appearance. In the prison, 11 and Su Yi occasionally quarreled, but Yi Wanwan didn't want to pay them any attention. First Elder and Third Elder closed their eyes to rest and remained quiet, but Big Dipper gradually became impatient. He couldn't understand why Sisfong didn't go on a murder spree and would stay in this crappy place while listening to those two bicker. A few hours later, the prison door was opened. Will you talk or not? Yi Wanwan. The captain of the hidden guards entered the prison and turned on the lights, impatiently looking at Yi Wanwan. You're freaking annoying. Isn't her answer obvious enough? Big Dipper shouted. If it weren't for a lack of orders from Sisfong, he would have charged up and killed this bullshit captain with a punch. Fine. I like to see how sealed your mouths will be. A group of hidden guards promptly shot forward and opened the cell door. They first dragged out 11. Yi Wanwan, if you don't talk, I'll kill your disciple. If you stay silent, I'll start killing you all one by one. The captain darkly proclaimed. It's fine if you kill them, but don't kill us, Big Dipper said. 7 Star, Yi Wanwan, First Elder, Third Elder. The hidden guards quickly led Yi Wanwan, her group, and Su Yi out of the prison. Miss Wanwan, just what do they want to know? Su Yi's brows were deeply furrowed as he walked next to Yi Wanwan. No need to worry, Yi Wanwan quietly replied. Before Yi Wanwan could say anything else, the captain suddenly clutched 11 by his throat. Yi Wanwan, if you don't talk, your disciple's neck is going to snap. And Master, save me. Panic filled 11's face, red spreading across his face, and his breaths quickened. However, Yi Wanwan didn't react at all and watched them silently for a moment before smiling indifferently and saying, Sure, snap his neck then. Chapter 1839. Snap 11's neck? Su Yi turned to Yi Wanwan in surprise. This wasn't something that the Miss Wanwan he knew would say. Disbelief entered 11's face, and the captain choking his neck was also surprised. Wow, I didn't expect a woman like you to be rather cruel and absolutely unconcerned about your disciple's fate. Then, I will slash his throat in front of you. The captain drew a dagger from his waist. Hurry and kill him already. What are you dawdling around for? How about I help you kill him? Big Dipper yawned like he was watching a circus show. Kill him then, Yuan once said. 11's expression suddenly returned to normal, the red fading from his face. Heh, master, aren't you too cruel toward me? Could it be that my life isn't worth Si Yihin's whereabouts? The corners of 11's lips curled into a frightening smile. 11, you actually... Su Yi looked at 11 in disbelief. Was this man in front of him really the previous captain of the hidden guard that he knew? The disciple that Miss Wanwan personally taught? You can release me now. 11 ordered the captain holding him. The captain of the hidden guard was dumbfounded. What's going on? Didn't Miss Qin Ruashi say 11 was Yi Wanwan's disciple and tell me to use 11's life to threaten Yi Wanwan to reveal Si Yihin's info and lure Si Yihin? How unfortunate. Mr. Eric. From a distance, Qin Ruashi slowly walked toward them with several higher-ups from the Si family trailing behind her. Mr. Eric, it appears your life is worthless to Yi Wanwan. Your method of using your life to force Yi Wanwan to reveal Si Yihin's whereabouts doesn't seem to be too effective, Qin Ruashi calmly said to 11. Mr. Eric? The captain became increasingly baffled. Wasn't this man 11, the previous captain of Si family's hidden guard? Who the heck was Mr. Eric? Retreat to the side. A Si family higher-up ordered the captain. The captain nodded. He didn't know what just happened, but it didn't seem to be his business. He merely needed to listen to orders. 11. I originally thought you just defected to Qin Ruashi's side. I really didn't expect you to really be Eric. Yi Wanwan's eyes swept across Qin Ruashi and the others before focusing on 11. She had never suspected 11 because he really was too normal, so normal that he was easily forgotten. Who would have expected that the person behind Si Mingli and Qin Ruashi was 11 from start to finish? He hid his identity and assumed the alias of 11 to infiltrate the Si family's hidden guards. What was his objective? 11 looked at Yi Wanwan, his lips turning up into a bewitching smile. Master, I'm very curious how you saw through me. I don't think I revealed any flaws. You thought your performance was flawless? Regrettably, your flaws were too big. Yi Wanwan looked at him. In the prison, you kept trying to brainwash me into falsely thinking that as long as Si Yihin returned, the Si family would return to its original state. However, you merely wanted to use me to lure Si Yihin. Am I right? Chapter 1840-11 was startled and became contemplative. He chuckled at Yi Wanwan and said, Yes, I was a bit impatient indeed. Master, now that you say that, my words did seem to be rather impatient. However, just that alone shouldn't have been enough to make you suspect me, Master. Yi Wanwan watched 11 and coolly said, It wasn't enough. However, in the prison, I asked you whether you knew Mr. Eric, and you answered yes, which was very strange since Eric was a mysterious mastermind. But you were just a hidden guard of the Si family. So how could you have known about him when even Su Yi, the steward, had never heard of Eric? After Yi Wanwan's explanation, 11 sunk into his thoughts for a moment before turning to Yi Wanwan and chuckling lightly. That's right. Try put on such a stiff act in front of you. Master is like an amateur meeting a pro. After all, you've produced best actors and best actresses, so my petty tricks truly can't fool you. Mr. Eric, let's kill them, one of the Si family higher-ups suggested to 11. 11 smiled faintly and shook his head. Yi Wanwan is still my master. I didn't plan to harm her despite capturing her. My only target is Si Yihin. That's all. The Si family higher-ups looked at each other. They wanted nothing more than for Yi Wanwan to die on the spot, but they didn't dare to act without Eric's permission since Eric was the true leader of the current Si family. Big Dipper and Seven Star met each other's eyes. What in the world was Sis Phone talking about? Why didn't they understand a word? Qin Ruashi turned to 11. Mr. Eric, since Si Yihin keeps saying Yi Wanwan is his most beloved woman, if we use this woman's life to threaten Si Yihin and make him appear, we can kill him in one blow the second Si Yihin dares to appear. Oh. Eleven's lips curled into a strange smile. Who said I wanted to kill Si Yian? The C family higher-ups were taken back. He didn't want to kill Si Yian? If Eric didn't want to kill Si Yian, why did he want to lure Si Yian out? Moreover, Murderous Blood Gang's earlier assassination attempt on Si Yian and Murderous Blood Gang itself were related to Eric. So, if Eric didn't want to kill Si Yian, why did he have people from Murderous Blood Gang try to assassinate Si Yian? 11. What's your objective? Yuan asked, looking at him. She couldn't see through this man at all. He had Murderous Blood Gang try to assassinate Si Yihan, and he also became a supporter of Si Mingli, Qin Ruoxi, and these Si family higher-ups. But now he was saying he didn't want Si Yihan to die? He infiltrated the Si family and concocted a deliberate scheme, pretending to be an ordinary hidden guard with a tragic background. What was his objective? Objective? 11 lowered his head in contemplation. It seems like I don't have much of an objective. In the past, I did want Si Yian's life, but carefully thinking about it now, he's still my adorable little brother after all, no? The Si family higher-ups and Qin Ruoxi's expressions all shifted. Surprise surfaced in even Yi Wanwan's eyes. Si Yihan was 11's younger brother? Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows deeply. Si Yihan had a total of 8 brothers. However, aside from the oldest brother, the other brothers seemed to have all died in Si Yian's hands. So where did this remaining brother come from? Chapter 1841. Yi Wanwan paused. Not every brother died in Si Yihan's hands. Aside from Si Xia's father, there was one brother alive still. The Si family's 7th brother. The 7th brother of the Si family that had never appeared. You are the 7th master of the Si family? Su Yi looked at 11 in shock. Aside from eldest brother, only I, old 7, am left, no? The corners of 11's lips turned up. Damn, what the heck are they talking about? Why can't I understand anything at all? Big Dipper turned to 7 Star. 7 Star glanced at him. These were Sis Feng's connections during her years in China. So how could they understand? You just needed to silently watch the show like First Elder and Third Elder. Hey Chow, how's this possible? You're actually 7th Master. Su Yi looked at 11 in disbelief. There were a total of 9 brothers in the Si family. Si Yihan was ranked 9th and had 8 brothers above him. Aside from the eldest brother, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 8th brother all died in Si Yihan's hands. Only the 7th brother remained overseas and never returned. Su Yi clearly remembered how the previous patriarch rather favored the 7th Master Si and planned to pass down the position as the Si family's patriarch to him. However, 7th Master was greatly drawn to being a businessman and was very independent, and he rarely returned. When 7th Master was young, he went overseas to follow and learn from some famous businessmen. In the Si family, the 7th, 8th, and 9th brother had a very good relationship despite being half-brothers from different mothers. However, in Su Yi's memory, 7th Master was very gentle and possessed the air of an ancient scholar. This version of 11 before him wasn't the slightest bit similar to that 7th Master. Wait, when Sir was still alive many years ago, I saw 7th Master once when he visited. Your appearance is greatly different from 7th Master's appearance. Su Yi questioned suspiciously. You're right. 11 pulled out an aged photo from his pocket. There was a young youth in the photo, around 14 or 15 years old. If it weren't for Si Yihan, I wouldn't have needed to change my face to this, am I right? 11 mocked him as he pocketed the photo. Plastic surgery. Su Yi furrowed his brows. He couldn't understand why 7th Master changed his looks and how that was related to 9th Master. What does this have to do with 9th Master? Before 9th Master disappeared, he kept searching for news of you, Su Yi asked. Of course he did. Of course he wanted to find information about me. That 9th brother of mine wanted to find me, then kill me, right? 11 retorted with a faint smile. Su Yi was dumbfounded. What was going on? 9th Master had a good relationship with 7th Master and never had any intention of killing 7th Master. Moreover, why would 9th Master want to kill 7th Master? Additionally, Ninth Master always missed Seventh Master and frequently mentioned Seventh Master to him. So there was no way Ninth Master wanted to kill Seventh Master. Aside from eldest brother and I, all the brothers died in Old Nine's hands. With eldest brother's personality, he wouldn't threaten Old Nine's position at all. So as long as I died, he could rest easy. I understand that intelligent ninth brother of mine the best, 11 said with a chuckle. Chapter 1842, Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. She originally played into the plan to come to the sea residence to find Eric and discover what kind of person he was and his objective. Who would have expected she'd get such a good show? She never would have expected 11 to be Eric. And now, this Eric turned out to be the seventh son of the Sea family, Si Yihan's seventh elder brother. During her time in China, Yi Wanwan frequently pacified Si Yihan and had heard him mention stories related to his brothers in the Sea family. Every single one of the brothers who died in Si Yihan's hands wanted his life. He originally didn't plan to attack them since they were brothers. After all, even if they were half-brothers from different mothers. However, those brothers considered Si Yihan their mortal enemy and didn't appreciate or accept his continual merciful leniency. In the end, they crossed Si Yihan's bottom line, leading to him painfully make the decision to eliminate them. The only sibling left aside for the eldest brother was the seventh brother, but Yi Wanwan had never heard Si Yihan mention his seventh brother. Although Sui didn't really want to believe that this man before him was seventh Master Si, he carefully considered it, and Eric didn't seem to have any reason to deceive them. Eric now gained complete control over the Si family, and judging from the attitudes of Qin Ruashi and the Si family higher-ups, the power behind him was also frighteningly immense, so there was no reason for him to impersonate seventh Master Si. Sui wasn't willing to admit it, but he knew very well that this person was seventh Master Si indeed. Seventh Master, is there some misunderstanding here? Ninth Master never mentioned attacking you. Sui hastily tried to explain. Is that so? 11's lips turned up into an icy smile. Sui, Steward Sui, do you think I would believe you? But Ninth Master really didn't say anything about attacking you. Sui persisted. Forget it. All of this is meaningless now, 11 snorted. We can ignore the other brothers. But why did Si Yihan kill eighth brother? Eighth brother died in his hands. At the mention of his eighth younger brother, a frighteningly chilly glint flashed in 11's eyes. When 11 was young, there was a time where he and his eighth brother depended on each other overseas, so they were no different from full brothers despite being half-brothers. 11 couldn't understand why Si Yihan would kill eighth brother for the mere position as patriarch. His eighth brother, seventh Master, it really isn't what you think. Ninth Master gave them a profuse amount of chances, but they teamed up to create a method to kill Ninth Master. So Ninth Master had no choice, Sui sighed. Shut up, 11 shouted harshly. I don't care about the others, but eighth brother had zero interest in the position as the Si family's patriarch, nor would he have harmed Old Nine. All of this was because Old Nine wanted to eliminate all obstacles. 11. Si Yihan isn't that kind of person, Yi Wanwan butted in, looking at him. Both Yi Wanwan and Si Yihan were in China still, so Yi Wanwan knew quite a lot about this matter. Oh, so you're saying eldest brother would lie to me? 11 coldly looked at her. At the mention of the Si family's eldest brother, Sui shook his head helplessly. The eldest brother of the Si family might look innocent and harmless on the surface, but he, along with his son Si Xia, secretly hated Si Yihan immensely. Chapter 1843, if it was the eldest brother who told all of this to seventh Master, then Sui didn't doubt anything. Seventh Master, if it was really as you thought, why would eldest Master and Si Xia still be alive today? They would have been eliminated by ninth Master a long time ago, Sui said. Yi Wanwan examined 11 and couldn't help but laugh inwardly. This seventh Master Si was a bit complicated indeed. He had an extremely good relationship with Si Yihan and his eighth brother when he was young, but his eldest brother secretly drove a wedge between him and Si Yihan and told him that Si Yihan was looking everywhere for him because Si Yihin wanted to kill him and resolve the problem at its roots. With no other option, 11 was forced to undergo plastic surgery and sneak into the Si family. To 11, the most dangerous place was also the safest place for him. By infiltrating the Si family after his plastic surgery and becoming a hidden guard, Si Yihin would never be able to find him and never imagine his seventh brother to be 11. Moreover, to Yuan, 11 did hold a bone-deep hatred towards Si Yihin, or else he wouldn't have had murderous blood gang try to assassinate Si Yihin. However, this seventh brother was also oddly conflicted. 11 wanted Si Yihin's life, but also didn't truly want Si Yihin to die, since he was his youngest brother after all. Back then, they accompanied Si Yihin overseas, and Si Yihin got seriously sick and lost consciousness. Murderous blood gang took advantage of this to attack and wanted to kill Si Yihin, and these people were hired by 11. Hence, if 11 really wanted Si Yihin to die, he could have stood up and exposed Yi Wanwan's pretense as the Rose of Death. However, he didn't and cooperated with the act perfectly. So should I call you seventh brother or 11? Yi Wanwan asked him expressionlessly. It's just a name, so do whatever you want. 11 chuckled. 11, your heart is rather conflicted. Yi Wanwan smiled faintly. On one hand, you hate Si Yihin to the bones and want to skin him alive, but on the other hand, you're incredibly worried whenever Si Yihin encounters danger and don't want him to die. In truth, when we were abroad and I pretended to be the Rose of Death, you could have exposed me to the people from murderous blood gang if you really wanted Si Yihin to die, but you didn't. You still care about your brother, Si Yihin, am I right? Yi Wanwan asked. Care about his life? 11 snorted. Master, aren't you overthinking? I really do want Si Yihin to die, but I want to die painfully. When we were abroad, Si Yihin was seriously ill and unconscious, so there wasn't much point in him dying like that. And what fun would there be in it for me? Oh, Yi Wanwan looked at him strangely. But didn't you just say Si Yihin was your brother, after all, so you didn't want him to die? Why did your opinion change again? Yi Wanwan's words caused 11 to frown deeply. Yi Wanwan had seen through this seventh son of the Si family by now. His heart was incredibly conflicted, and even if he felt a tinge of familial feelings towards Si Yihin, he would never admit it verbally. However, an observer could pick up on his feelings from the things he did. Master, enough with the chit-chat. Tell me, where is Si Yihin? 11 looked at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan shrugged. Sorry, my good disciple. I really don't know where your adorable brother is. If you find him, do tell me. Old 7, are you looking for me? Before Yi Wanwan could continue, an incredibly familiar voice penetrated the room. Chapter 1844. This indifferent voice took everyone by surprise. A second later, dozens of well-trained men wearing tight-fitting windbreakers rushed into the Si residence. At the very front was a man in a black suit, walking slowly. His aloof eyes swept across everyone, as though he was a king who walked out from the night. His perpetual unfazed expression evoked fury and rage from everyone in the Si family. Qin Ruashi's eyes glinted coldly. This man was back. Si Yihin. He was overjoyed with excitement at seeing Si Yihin. Ninth Master, who had been missing for several months, had finally returned to the Si family. He knew that there was no way anything could have happened to Ninth Master. At that same moment, a Si family hidden guard swiftly walked toward the captain of the hidden guards and said something. The captain's expression shifted, and he hastily walked toward 11 and whispered, Mr. Eric, Si Yihin broke through the Si residence's defense. Most of our offensive power has been captured. An icy emotion surfaced in 11's eyes. In her spot, Yi Wanwan pensively surveyed Si Yihin. Didn't Si Yihin tell her he had something to take care of and needed to leave China first? So why did he come to the Si residence at a time like this? It didn't require much thought to realize that if Si Yihin was Lord Azura, then there had to be numerous spies around the Si residence. Otherwise, Si Yihin absolutely wouldn't have gotten news of her trouble as soon as it happened and rushed to the Si residence in such a short amount of time. Ah, ugly freak, long time no see. How are you? Lin Ke walked toward Yi Wanwan from Si Yihin's side and greeted her with a laugh. Damn, don't you freaking know how to talk? Who are you calling ugly freak? Big Dipper coldly rebuked him. Lin Ke was a bit embarrassed and could only laugh awkwardly before correcting himself. I was wrong. Ninth sister. Before Yi Wanwan could respond, Si Yihin calmly ordered, Lin Ke, escort them out of the sea residence. Understood, ninth brother. Lin Ke looked at Yi Wanwan again. Ninth sister, I'll take you out first. Let ninth brother handle the sea family situation. Let Si Yihin handle it himself. Yi Wanwan turned to Si Yihin. Why? Si Yihin's gaze landed on Yi Wanwan. The iciness disappeared and was replaced by an unusual gentleness. It's unrelated to you, so there's no need for you to walk into this pool of muddy water. Unrelated to me? How Soy Wanwa's mouth curled up into an inscrutable smirk. Am I not your wife? Since we're married already, your business is my business. What's there to separate between us? Si Yihin previously told her it was because they were married that the ancient Sea clan of the independent state hunted them down. According to Si Yihin's explanation, they were legitimately married, so they should naturally share both fortune and misfortune as husband and wife. What the heck? Big Dipper looked at Yi Wanwan and Si Yihin in shock. Damn, married? Since when? Why didn't I know this? Chapter 1845, even 7-star, First Elder and Third Elder were surprised. Wasn't their president the girlfriend of this patriarch Si from China? How long had it been? How did they become husband and wife all of a sudden? Why are you everywhere? Yi Wanwan glanced at Big Dipper. You can't, Sis Wanwan. It's fine if you just want to have fun since you can have as many boyfriends as you want. But you can only have one husband. Sis Wanwan. How could you get married to the patriarch of a family from China? You can't. You absolutely can't. I don't consent to this marriage. Big Dipper said as he frantically shook his head. You talk too much, 7-star said to Big Dipper expressionlessly. What do you mean I talk too much? Big Dipper was confused. This is Sis Wan's private business, 7-star answered. Blah, you're such a lapdog. Do you know what devoted loyalty is? A loyal person like me has to advise Sis Wanwan. I'm doing this for Sis Wanwan's benefit. What the hell do you know? Shoo. Big Dipper shoved 7-star to the side. Big Dipper continued. Sis Wanwan, you really can't. If you're married to this guy, what would we do about Emperor Ji then? The Sea family higher-ups looked at each other, bewildered. They had never heard of Emperor Ji. Who was that? The name was rather intimidating, though. At the mention of Emperor Ji, the gentleness in Si Yihin's eyes instantly disappeared. A terrifying storm enveloped them instead, along with gray clouds and frightening thunder. If Emperor Ji won't do, Lord Azura is also good. I think you and Lord Azura are quite suitable, Sis Wanwan. Damn, I get it. Sis Wanwan, don't tell me you're crazily infatuated with Lord Azura, but couldn't get him. So you took a fancy to this thing. Big Dipper turned to Si Yihin in astonishment. This patriarch Si from China looked nearly identical to Lord Azura from the independent state and only had a different hair color, as though they were identical twins. Yes, that must be it. Sis Wanwan, you must love Lord Azura to death and love him so much you've lost yourself. This is why you like this punk and married him. Big Dipper rubbed his chin and kept nodding as he analyzed the situation. Si Yihin's expression eased up minutely. However, Sis Wanwan, even if you can't get Lord Azura, Emperor Ji will also do. Emperor Ji isn't any worse than Lord Azura. Let me think it through for you. There's no criticism about Emperor Ji's looks for sure. He's on par with Lord Azura. As for money, probably the same. Their status, I also think they're neck and neck. Their fame is the same too. Of course, I suspect it's Lord Azura and Emperor Ji who are a true pair. So even if it's Emperor Ji, I don't think you can get him, Sis Wanwan. I don't think either Emperor Ji or Lord Azura will take a liking to you. But even if Lord Azura and Emperor Ji don't work out, they're my brother Shin still, as Big Dipper prattled on incoherently. Yi Wanwan's expression blackened. Shun, your grandfather. There could only be one person who matched the brother Shun, mentioned by Big Dipper, the great landlord of the Shun family. Aside from Big Dipper, there was also one other person who adamantly wanted to matchmake her, an eldest young Master Shun. Nameless Nya. Why are you so noisy? The silent third elder seemed unable to endure Big Dipper's prattling any longer and irritatedly looked at Big Dipper. Chapter 1846. Third Elder, what are you saying? It's not like you don't know my brother Shun's background. If Sis Wanwan marries eldest young Master Shun, we can also benefit. All of the Shun family's wealth and assets, we can take part in it. TSK, TSK, TSK. Big Dipper brimmed with excitement. Third Elder merely snorted. What a joke. Do we lack money? He then promptly turned to Yi Wanwan. In truth, I don't care about the money. The main thing is that eldest young Master Shun is rather agreeable to the eyes and treats you especially well. I think it'd be very nice if you married eldest young Master Shun. You'd live a blissful life. How about you get divorced from this patriarch C first? Yi Wanwan, First Elder, Big Dipper, 7-star, damn. Are you people that hungry for money? So what if eldest young Master Shun is rich? You can't eat money as food. Lin K looked enraged. Brother, did your head get kicked by a donkey? You can't eat money as food? Big Dipper's gaze landed on Lin Quebec. He quickly, curiously added, You actually know eldest young Master Shun? Could it be you've been to Lin K, who regained his wits, was startled for a second before frantically shaking his head. No. I haven't gone. How would I know any eldest young Master Shun? Wasn't it you who said eldest young Master Shun is rich? I just said it randomly, so please don't misunderstand. I just think that true love is priceless, and you don't have money with you when you're born, and you can't take it to the grave with you. So it's not useful to want so much. Anyway, my 9th brother and 9th sister have married already, so what are you guys blindly urging her for? Haven't you heard of the saying, advocate for reconciliation and not for divorce? Don't be so immoral. Are you guys done chatting? 11 coldly interrupted before Lin K could continue, his eyes coldly glinting. Si-Yin turned to 11 immediately. It's been a long time, old 7. 9th brother, it's truly been a long time. Your heart has turned rotten. 11 met Si-Yin's eyes. This is private business between us. Let Wanwan leave first, Si-Yin said. 11 chuckled. Sure. No matter what, Yi Wanwan is my master still, and I never wanted to harm a hair on her head. If it wasn't because I wanted to lure you out, I would be chatting with Yi Wanwan over some alcohol right now. Why would we have ended up in this plight? You can chat, but you can't drink alcohol. Big Dipper interjected. 7-star agreed. Yes. Si-Yin ignored Big Dipper and turned to Yi Wanwan. Go back first. This is my private business with old 7. I already said that we're married already. So there's no such thing as private business, all right? Yi Wanwan retorted matter-of-factly. Si-Yin frowned and wanted to say something, but Yi Wanwan's line blocked every rebuttal he had and rendered him speechless. All right, you previously said we were married, so I have a question for you. Yi Wanwan's eyes twirled, and she cheerfully looked at him. What question? Do we have a son? Yi Wanwan asked nonchalantly. No. Si-Yin answered. Oh, really? But why do I keep feeling like we have a son? Chapter 1847, where Brother Si-Yin was silent for a moment, not knowing how to answer. This supposed marriage was merely a lie generated to make Yi Wanwan believe the story he fabricated. So how could they have a son? What are you standing around for? Capture Si-Yin. The nearby Qin Ruashi suddenly ordered coldly. The Si family's hidden guards grew restless. Although the fighting forces outside the Si residence were subdued by the people Si-Yin brought, there was still a lot of usable manpower inside the Si residence. So everything would go smoothly as long as they captured Si-Yin. I didn't order for Si-Yin to be captured right now. 11 looked at Qin Ruashi frostily. But, Mr. Eric, Qin Ruashi frowned at him. 11 ignored her and turned to the nearby Su-E. Prepare some food and alcohol, Su E. Old 9 and I are going to talk. Su E looked at Si Yihin and waited for his nod before actually leaving. A moment later, several people followed 11 into the living room while the Si family higher-ups and Qin Ruoshi waited outside. Si Yihin and Yi Wanwan's respective group also entered. At the dinner table, 11 smiled and said, "Old 9, this is a plate of black-hearted meat specifically prepared for you." Si Yihin didn't pick up his chopsticks and simply watched 11 calmly. "Old 9, you must have never expected me to change my face, hide in the Si family, and become a minor hidden guard, right?" 11 asked with a faint smile. "Say, 7th brother, don't be so foolish. From the first time you came to the Si family to apply to be a hidden guard, 9th brother knew you were 7th brother," Lin K said after throwing a piece of fatty meat into his mouth. 11's expression shifted. "Impossible. How's it impossible? 7th brother, don't you know your own martial arts skills? With your skills, how did you manage to enter the Si family if it weren't for 9th brother's approval?" Lin K explained. 11 sunk into silence. A moment later, Big Dipper suddenly picked up his chopsticks and said to 7-star, 1st elder, and 3rd elder, Come, let's eat and drink. None of it is poisoned." "How do you know it's not poisoned?" 3rd elder was puzzled. "Of course I know." Big Dipper pointed at Lin Quebec. "I watched this guy eat a bunch. He should be dead now if it was poisonous." Yi Wanwan. Lin K cursed. "Fuck. Why are you freaking so evil? You treated me like a guinea pig? Pay attention to your tone and attitude when you speak to me, or else I'm going to make you the next headline." Big Dipper rolled his eyes. 11's lips turned up. So it's like that. Nicely done, old 9. You saw through my identity, but didn't say a word and had me stay in the Si family within your sight. This way, you could kill me any time you wanted." "Kill you?" the silent Si Yihin suddenly asked. Why? 11 abruptly stood up, nearly flipping the table. "Old 9, why are freaking trying to pretend with me?" Si Yihin didn't take offense and remained seated. He looked at 11 and said, "We're brothers." "Brothers?" 11 threw his head back with laughter. "Are we brothers? Was old 8 your brother?" "Brothers, huh? My girlfriend, Lin Yun, died in the hands of the Si family hidden guards that you sent. But now you're freaking telling me we're brothers." Chapter 1848. Chapter 1848. I didn't do it. Si Yihin didn't get angry at 11, who had lost his composure, and silently watched him instead. Si Yihin, it appears you really don't have much humanity in you. 11 coldly mocked after sitting back down. Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows. During her last venture in China, Yi Wanwan frequently mingled with 11, little stutterer Feng Shuani, and the others, so she once heard 11 mention his girlfriend, Lin Yun. Moreover, when Yuan Sheng, the hidden guard trained by Qin Ruoshi, fought with 11 during the qualification trials to be the captain of the Si family hidden guards, Yuan Sheng specifically used Lin Yun's death to ridicule 11's ineptitude. It was that time that 11's state of mind collapsed, and he nearly died in Yuan Sheng's hands. 11 once mentioned he was unable to protect his beloved woman, Lin Yun, due to his incompetence, and caused her to die tragically. Hence, Yi Wanwan always thought Lin Yun jumped into a lake to commit suicide after being sexually assaulted by drunken men. Now, though, 11 was saying Lin Yun died in Si Yihin's hands. What was going on? 11 saw Yi Wanwan's confused expression and apathetically said, "Yi Wanwan, I remember once telling you that my childhood sweetheart was humiliated by drunken men at knife point, and I abandoned my girlfriend and ran out of fear and caused Lin Yun to take her life in the lake. In truth, that's just a story I made up. The original version was that Si Yihin found my girlfriend and my residence and ordered people to capture me. I happened to be out, and only my girlfriend was home. Those people tried to coerce Lin Yun into revealing my information, but she refused, so they ended up killing her." Yi Wanwan remained silent. "What do you think? Isn't this very similar to the story I made up? In the end, my girlfriend died because of me. It's just that the truth is cruder. In the edited story, my girlfriend committed suicide after she was assaulted by drunken men, but the truth was my brother killed my girlfriend. Yuan still didn't say anything because she knew Si Yihin absolutely wouldn't do something like that. However, 11 looked like he was telling the truth, so there had to be some giant secret behind all of this. What? Old 9, isn't there anything you want to say? 11's gaze landed on Si Yihin. Si Yihin expressionlessly replied, If I didn't do it, why should I say anything? 11's eyes shot open in anger. Si Yihin, I've truly overestimated you. You aren't a man at all. You dare to do it, but don't have the guts to admit it? 7th Master, there must be a misunderstanding here. If something like this happened, I would know for sure, Su Yi hastily said. Si Yihin might be vicious and savage, but he absolutely wouldn't do this kind of thing. Having someone hunt down 11 and kill 11's girlfriend? It was utter nonsense. Moreover, even if 9th Master really did this, he would openly admit it. Haha, Brother 11th, I'm an outsider and the business of the C family has nothing to do with me, so I'm not biased. I just want to know who told you these things. First Elder, who had been content watching the show from the sidelines, suddenly asked with a grin. Someone told me, of course, 11 replied. Who was it? Can you tell us? Yuan inquired. Chapter 1849 Eldest brother told me. Forget it. It's no big deal telling you guys. It was eldest brother who told me all of this, 11 answered. Su Yi's expression shifted. The eldest brother of the Si family, Si Bai. Si Yihin looked contemplative when he heard it was Si Bai who told him. 7th Master, you mustn't take eldest master's words seriously. Su Yi urgently exclaimed. 2nd Master, 3rd Master, as well as 8th Master. It was because of eldest master's wedge-driving words that they teamed up and wanted to kill 9th Master. Although Si Bai normally wasn't any threat to Si Yihin and the Si family, his mouth was extremely sharp, and he frequently sowed dissension between his son, Si Xia, and Si Yihin, not to mention their brothers. Oh, Su Yi, are you saying it was eldest brother, Si Bai, who did all of this then framed old 9 for it? Is that it? 11 looked at Su Yi. Su Yi hastily shook his head. And no, I didn't say it was eldest master who did it. But it's true that eldest master likes to sow dissension. Su Yi thought that there was a giant power behind 11 supporting him and helping him concoct schemes. Who would have expected this supposed giant power to be Si Bai? It appeared he overlooked Si Bai. Si Bai typically didn't physically threaten Si Yihin. There was just that mouth of his. This was why Si Yihin hadn't harmed Si Bai. 11. Think about it. Agio didn't even have any intention of harming someone like eldest brother, Si Bai, so would it be reasonable for him to have any intention of harming you? Yuan asked. That's just an excuse. 11 snorted. Si Yihin asked, did I need to? Old 9, what do you mean? 11 turned to Si Yihin. Si Yihin was silent for a moment before replying. You said that I kept looking into your whereabouts and even killed your girlfriend. That's right. 11 angrily glared at him. Then, Si Yihin examined 11. I've found you. 11 frowned. If I wanted to kill you, you would be cremated right now, Si Yihin concluded concisely. Say, 7th brother, how could you be so simple-minded? 9th brother's men have completely controlled both the Si residence's interior and exterior. Do you think 9th brother is refusing to admit it because he's scared of you? Why don't you go out and take a look? Lin K suggested. 11 didn't reply and pulled out his phone. He connected to all the surveillance located inside and outside the Si residence. Both the interior and exterior of the Si residence had been completely seized by that unknown power, and the Si family's higher-ups were under their control. Only Qin Ruoshi managed to flee somewhere. What do you think? Si Yihin asked aloofly. Si Yihin. 11 coldly stared at him. 7th brother, shouldn't you switch tracks and think about it now? The Si residence is under 9th brother's complete control now. If it was really as you said and 9th brother has been hunting you down, he should be attacking you now. Why would he waste his words on you for so long? Lin K asked. 11 frowned deeply and slowly sat down in the chief's seat, taking a swig of alcohol. Previously, 11 thought that Si Yihan didn't admit it out of fear for him. Now, though, the Si family was under Si Yihan's control, and it would be a piece of cake for Si Yihan to kill him. So why didn't Si Yihan attack? Why did he stubbornly refuse to admit to his previous actions instead? Chapter 1850 Old Grievances Dispelled. 11 wasn't stupid. After a moment of contemplation, his expression shifted. "Si Bai, where's eldest brother?" Lin K asked curiously. 11 shook his head with a frown. Eldest brother left the Si residence a long time ago and didn't inform him of his destination. "It's just as I've been telling you, seventh brother. Anything that comes out of eldest brother's mouth is nonsense and more nonsense. Think about it. Si Bai is the eldest son of the Si family, but the position of patriarch Si got usurped by ninth brother. So how could he be happy about it? And he himself isn't capable at much. His strength is his ability to drive a wedge between people," Lin K explained exasperatedly. "Then why didn't you kill eldest brother?" 11 asked. "Kill Si Bai?" Lin K pursed his lips. "Seventh brother, the things you say." Ninth brother can't kill eldest brother just because he likes to sow dissension when he himself hasn't done anything out of line, right? "So, you're saying I was deceived by eldest brother?" A cold glint flashed through 11's eyes. "Isn't that obvious?" Yi Wanwan retorted. Upon seeing the misunderstanding resolved, Si Yihan slowly stood up and said to 11, "Old 7, I'll leave the Si family to you from now on." "Old 9, but in the end you still killed old 8, 11 gritted his teeth. Si Yihan expressionlessly replied, "He wanted to kill me. I gave him too many chances, but it was all futile." "Is that so?" 11 murmured softly. If it was really as Si Yihan said, then eighth brother did deserve to die. The true kinslayer wasn't Si Yihan, it was eighth brother. Si Yihan was merely forced. "Old 7, take good care of grandmother. The Si family will rely on you from now on." After saying that, Si Yihan looked at Yi Wanwan and asked, "Do you still remember our promise?" Yi Wanwan sardonically looked at Si Yihan. "I know. I'll stay in China and obediently wait for you to return." Yes, a trace of gentleness tinged Si Yihan's eyes, but he led Lin K and his other men away a moment later. As for the mess that was the Si family higher-ups, he tossed them all to the still-dazed 11. After Si Yihan was completely gone, Big Dipper incredulously turned to Yi Wanwan. "Sisef, Wanwan, no way, right? Are we really going to remain in China? My mom's still in the hospital. I can't abandon my mom." Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at him. Did this guy have the brains of a pig? They still had so many things to resolve in the independent state. So how could they remain in China forever? "And master," 11's gaze landed on Yi Wanwan. "My apologies," Yi Wanwan smiled at him. "Since you've acknowledged me as master, what's there to apologize for? You were also deceived by eldest brother. I know eldest brother is still in China. I'll definitely find him." 11 fumed with rage between gritted teeth. He would make Si Bai pay for his wretched mouth. Yi Wanwan didn't linger in the Si residence. 11 would probably do a complete cleanup of the Si family after Si Yian's departure, and that had nothing to do with her. 3 days later, at the branch office of Stars Entertainment, 11 paid a visit. "Say, why do you keep haunting us?" Big Dipper looked at 11 inside the office disdainfully. "I came here to find my master, so shut up," 11 irritatedly rebuked. "Hey!" Big Dipper pursed his lips and ignored him. "What is it?" Yi Wanwan asked, looking at 11. Chapter 1851 Who is the Mastermind? "Master, I found eldest brother's address. Do you want to come with me?" Since Si Bai dragged Yi Wanwan into the matter, 11 wanted Yi Wanwan to go with him. Yi Wanwan considered it for a moment before finally nodding. "All right, let's go together to see." Yi Wanwan brought Big Dipper, 7-star, first elder, and third elder with her and had 11 lead the car. On their way to Si Bai's residence, Yi Wanwan ordered many Fearless Alliance elites to follow to prevent any unexpected circumstances. Seabai's persona in the C family had always been like this. He enjoyed sowing dissension. More than that, Seabai never hid this trait and made everyone aware of it. It appeared 11's matter was caused Seabai's provocation this time too, but Yuanwan kept feeling unsettled. A while later, they arrived at a manor located in an extremely remote suburb of Imperial City. They parked the car near the manor before entering. Inside the manor, birdsong and fragrant flowers permeated the senses, and farmland, planted with a myriad of vegetables and fruit trees, filled their sight. As soon as they entered the manor, they saw Seabai, the eldest son of the C family, watering the fields in a white, Chinese-style outfit. "Seabai!" 11 angrily shouted as soon as he saw the man. Seabai placed down the objects in his hands and looked toward them in confusion. "Old 7, and sister-in-law, why are you here?" Seabai swiftly walked toward them at once. Seabai also carried several chairs over and had everyone sit. He wiped the sweat from his forehead before asking, "How did you find me?" "Heh, isn't it easy to find you, eldest brother?" 11 mocked. "Eldest brother, where's Xia?" Yuanwan asked Seabai. During this whole trip, Yuanwan hadn't seen Xia once. That guy's really unruly. Who knows where he went off to go wild. This home to him is nothing but an inn. He'll come and go as he pleases, Seabai answered genially. "Eldest brother, let's not waste our words. You previously told me that old 9 was hunting me and that my girlfriend, Lin Yun, also died at his hands. Didn't you?" 11 asked him. Seabai's expression shifted slightly, and he frowned. "Old 7, those were just my guesses and analyses. I don't have any concrete evidence. What did you say?" 11 turned furious and grabbed Seabai by his lapels. "Now you're telling me it's your guesses and analyses? Did you know that because of your bullshit, you nearly caused me and old 9 to harm each other?" "Haha, old 7. I said old 2 and old 8 both died in Yin's hands. That's correct, right? So it's logical that he also wants to kill you." Seabai remained unruffled. "You can eat carelessly, but you can't talk carelessly." 11 pointed at Seabai. "You really aren't qualified to be the eldest brother." "Hold on." Yuanwan suddenly interjected and pensively studied Seabai. "Hold on." 11 furrowed his brows. 11, did you tell eldest brother about your girlfriend passing away?" Yuanwan asked. 11 shook his head. "I didn't. It was eldest brother who found me and told me. It was Yihin who did it." The second 11 finished speaking. His expression changed as he instantly understood Yi Wanwan's implicit meaning. He never told eldest brother about Lin Yun passing away. So how did eldest brother know about it? And found him and told him it was Yihin who did it? Yi Wanwan's eyes narrowed at the seemingly harmless eldest brother of the C family, Seabai. Chapter 1852. You're all idiots. Seabai was still grinning as he looked at Yi Wanwan and chuckled. "Sister-in-law, this is our family business, so why are you sticking your nose into it?" 11's eyes coldly glinted, and he intently stared at Seabai, frostily asking, "Eldest brother." "Seabai, I never told you Lin Yun passed away back then. So how did you know?" Seabai chuckled. "Old 7, that's unimportant. I don't think there's any reason for you to engage in such unpleasantry with your brother for a woman, right?" 11's expression was foreboding. "It's you. You killed Lin Yun." "Me?" Seabai started briefly and pointed at himself before shaking his head. "Of course it wasn't me who killed your girlfriend. It was the people I sent who killed her." "Seabai, you freaking bastard." 11 became extremely enraged. He couldn't accept that his eldest brother, this seemingly most harmless, cowardly, and timid brother out of all the 9 brothers of the C family, would be the one who killed his girlfriend and framed their 9th brother, Yihin. Seabai didn't get angry at 11's loss of composure and smiled instead. "Old 7, I'm your eldest brother after all. It was just a woman. You can have as many as you want. Don't tell me you're going to fall out with me. Your eldest brother for a woman. You and your bullshit." 11's expression couldn't be any darker as he looked at Seabai. "Seabai, For the mere position of the C family's patriarch, you had no scruples against killing my girlfriend and framing old Nine for it. Do you still remember we're brothers? Are you a person? Sebai remained unperturbed and picked up some bird food with his fingers and fed it to the birds next to him. The truth became clear. All of the C brothers, old 2, old 3, old 4, old 5, even old 8, it was because of you sowing dissension with them that they ruined their lives. 11 rebuked him harshly. Old 7, you can't describe things like that. I didn't press a knife against their necks and order them to kill Si Yihan, right? It was because they themselves were greedy, and I merely made them confront their greed. You're different, though. You've been conducting business outside these years, and the wealth and power you possess aren't lesser to that of the C family. Hence, a simple position as the C family patriarch couldn't tempt you at all. Your weakness was your girlfriend, Lin Yun. It was only by killing Lin Yun and telling you that Si Yihan was the culprit would you want to kill Si Yihan. It was you who exposed your weakness, so you can't blame eldest brother for it, Sibai said. Sibai, I want you dead. After learning that Lin Yun died in Sibai's hands, 11 couldn't control his emotions anymore and picked up a brick from the ground before tossing it towards Sibai's head. Idiot! Sibai glanced at 11 and lightly raised his right arm. A second later, 11 flew into the air and was struck back several meters. After 11 crashed to the ground, he swiftly got back up, but his face was pale and a rivulet of scarlet was dripping from his mouth. 7 Star and Big Dipper met each other's eyes, and even First Elder and Third Elder turned to Sibai in surprise. There was actually an expert like this in China. Chapter 1853. Sibai chuckled as he watched 11 climb back up. Truly an idiot. How did you manage to fail to kill Si Yihan? When you hired the murderous blood gang and Si Yihan's old illness resurged abroad, that was the best opportunity to kill him. You just needed to break Yi Wanwan's pretense as the Rose of Death. But what a pity that you, an idiot, Sibai. You freaking. Could a position as the C family's patriarch be more important to you than all of our brothers? 11 shouted while pointing at him. Sibai smiled dryly and shook his head. Old 7, you people are nothing but frogs sitting at the bottom of a well. To me, the C family is nothing. Then why did you do such heartless things? 11 couldn't understand Sibai at all. He could understand it if Sibai provoked their brothers to kill Si Yihan for the position as the C family's patriarch. But Sibai was saying the C family was nothing to him. So why did he do all of this then? Cripples like you naturally have no way of knowing the C family story. Sibai snorted. Forget it. As the eldest brother, I'll tell you the truth behind the C family. Sibai leisurely continued. In truth, C is an ancient family name, and our branch belongs to the ancient C clan, but the ancient clan isn't located in China. The ancient C clan is located in a place called the Independent State. The ancient C clan? The Independent State? 11 was baffled. What was the ancient C clan? And what was the Independent State? The ancient C clan is actually a martial arts clan and possesses overwhelming power and strength in the Independent State. But the ancient C clan has an extremely strict rule. The only descendants who can remain in the ancient C clan of the Independent State are those who display shocking talent in intelligence or potential for practicing martial arts and meet the standards. And our father was kicked out of the ancient C clan due to his mediocrity. After coming to China, father founded the C family and fathered us brothers. As for me, my potential met the standard. So I was brought to the Independent State to be trained by the ancient C clan after I came of age. 11 became increasingly shocked as he listened to Sibai's story. Their C family possessed this kind of secret. TSK Tisk. Unfortunately, I was expelled from the ancient C clan because I violated the clan's rules. I had no choice but to establish my own power in the Independent State. However, the ancient C clan thought I tarnished their reputation. So they kicked me out of the Independent State. After I returned to China, I controlled the power I left behind in the Independent State remotely and accepted a myriad of defected mercenaries. I was willing to do anything that could strengthen myself because I wanted to make those old geezers of the ancient Sea clan regretful. I wanted to show them that expelling me out of the ancient Sea clan and kicking me out of the independent state was the worst decision they'd ever made. However, what I couldn't understand was why Old Nine was chosen many years later and was brought to the independent state. He was even emphatically trained by the ancient Sea clan. A frighteningly chilly glint sparked in Sea Bai's eyes when he reached this point in the tale. Tell me, Old Seven, why? I'm the eldest brother. I'm stronger and smarter than any of you. But I was kicked out of the independent state while Old Nine was trained with emphasis. Tell me, doesn't he deserve to die? Chapter 1854. Yi Wanwan imperceptibly surveyed the eldest brother Si from far away. She never expected him to be the first prodigy of Si Yihan's brothers to be chosen by the ancient Si clan and brought to the independent state to be trained. He concealed himself until now and typically pretended to be innocent, harmless, cowardly, and timid in the Si family. But in reality, he was an expert who returned from the independent state. A person like him was truly terrifying. I actually have another name in the independent state. It's Si Wutianel. A bone-chilling smile spread across Si Bai's face as he looked at 11 and the others. Si Wutian? I've never heard of it. Big Dipper scratched his nose. Seven Star also hadn't ever heard of some Si Wutian person in the independent state. He was probably a minor figure. However, First Elder and Third Elder's expression shifted. Seven Star and Big Dipper were still young, so they naturally hadn't heard of Si Wutian. But First Elder and Third Elder weren't unfamiliar with this name, Si Wutian. Back before the Fearless Alliance was founded, Si Wutian was a genius from the ancient Si clan in the independent state. Later, he was expelled from the ancient Si clan due to his disregard of clan rules. However, Si Wutian proceeded to found the Lawless Gang and continuously recruited defected mercenaries and strengthened its power. Wen Baifeng created the Fearless Alliance later and swept across the independent state. The Fearless Alliance once had an intense conflict with the Lawless Gang. After Baifeng disappeared, the Lawless Gang launched a fierce attack on the Fearless Alliance, causing the Fearless Alliance to suffer immense damage, and many of their elites were abducted by the Lawless Gang. They came to China this time precisely because they caught wind of the Lawless Gang appearing in China. So the president brought them there to look for information about the Lawless Gang and see if they could make any headway. Based on the information they obtained, the Fearless Alliance elites that were abducted should be in China right now. So they informed their president of this, and the president brought them to China this time not only to finish her Scarlet Flame's mission, but also to see if they could find the Lawless Gang and rescue those hostages. Who would have expected this man in front of them to be the leader of the Lawless Gang? Si Wutian? In the independent state, the Lawless Gang's leader was very mysterious and never made any public appearances. No one had ever seen Si Wutian. Now it turned out Si Wutian himself was in China and controlled the Lawless Gang from afar. Si Bai, I don't know what you're saying. However, if it's really as you said and you're so strong, go seek retribution from Old Nine yourself. Why did you have to harm us brothers? 11 angrily shouted while pointing at him. Si Bai smiled and shook his head with a sigh. Old 7, I thought you would be cleverer than Old 2 and Old 8 since you've been living rather well on the outside all these years. Who would have expected you to also be an idiot? Old 9 was trained with a focus by the ancient Si clan, and they called him a supernova. If Old 9 died in my hands, the ancient Si clan wouldn't spare me. But if Old 9 died in his other brother's hands, then it'd be unrelated to me, no? You bastard. Did you think the ancient Si clan would spare you for causing our deaths? 11 furiously asked. If Si Bai was telling the truth, weren't he and his brothers also members of the independent state's ancient Si clan? One Wutian can mean lawless. Chapter 1855. Haha, Si Bai snorted. There are truly too many Si descendants drifting on the outside. You don't exist in the eyes of the ancient Sea clan. But old Nine is different. Forget it. An idiot like you won't understand. You're just jealous that old Nine is stronger than you. Because of your jealousy, you mercilessly harmed your brothers. What's the difference between you and a monster? 11 fumed with rage. Jealous. Seabai shook his head. You can only blame old Nine for being unlucky. The ancient Sea clan cast me out and evicted me from the independent state, so I'm going to make them regret it. Since they attach such importance to old Nine, I'll destroy him and kill him. So you think Siyihin is inferior to you? The silent Yuanwan suddenly interjected. Sibai instantly turned to Yuanwan. Huh, what, sister-in-law, do you really think old Nine is stronger than me? It's unimportant whether Agio is stronger than you. I'm just curious. Where did you get the confidence that old Seven and the other brothers had the ability to kill Agio? Since you yourself knew that Agio returned from the independent state, and they couldn't compare to Agio. Yet, you had old Seven and the others attack him. Isn't that too much? Yuanwan asked, meeting his eyes. Sibai shook his head, though, and mirthfully said, if it was before that incident happened, my brothers wouldn't have one, of course. Having them try to kill old Nine would have been a sheer joke. That incident? Yuanwan frowned. What was the incident Sibai was referring to? What? You don't know? Sibai looked at her in amusement. Sister-in-law, old Nine came back from an independent state solely because of you. Everyone was baffled by Sibai's words. Ha ha! Don't you know old Nine got fatally injured in order to rescue you in the independent state back then? And after you followed old Nine back to the Sea family, you were akin to a dead person and wash your face with your tears every day. In the end, you begged old Nine to erase all of your memories. Old Nine naturally couldn't bear to see you like that, so he did as you wished. If old Nine wasn't wounded, it would have been impossible to kill him. But because of you, old Nine got severely wounded and had nearly zero martial strength. My brothers alone would have been enough to kill him. What a pity, though. If old Seven exposed your impersonation as the Rose of Death, the people from the murderous blood gang would have killed old Nine already, and old Nine wouldn't still be alive, Sibai said with a sigh. Yi Wanwan's expression became increasingly grave as she listened to Sibai. She had no idea about any of this. Siyian's body got wounded because he saved her. Moreover, it was at her request that Siyian erased her memory completely. How was that possible? However, Sibai had no reason to lie. That would be pointless. Forget it. Enough with the chatter. Sibai smiled at 11. Old Seven, I won't kill you, so leave. However, this is old Nine's most beloved woman, so I could perhaps make old Nine mournful and depressed for a while. Sibai turned to Yi Wanwan. In truth, I'm rather curious just who you are. However, there's no point. In my eyes, you just need to be old Nine's most beloved woman. Sibai, what are you saying? 11 shouted coldly. I'll kill her, of course, Sibai replied with a chuckle. Chapter 1856, The Previous Eric of the Rose of Death, You Dare? 11 was instantly enraged. Sibai smiled and lightly said, I never like to kill people personally. As Sibai said that, a cold-looking woman slowly walked out from nearby. Chin Ruashi. 11 furrowed his brows upon catching sight of the woman. Mr. Eric. Chin Ruashi ignored 11 and reverently called as she looked at Sibai. Sibai chuckled aloofly in response. Damn, weren't you Eric? How did he become your eldest brother? Big Dipper turned to 11 in confusion when he heard how Chin Ruashi addressed Sibai. Eric isn't a person's name, 11 explained promptly. There are two meanings behind Eric. The first one is the English name, Eric, and the other true meaning is a leader. Back then, eldest brother Sibai secretly built a power in China and gave the title of the leader Eric to me so that I could operate more conveniently and have the ability to kill old Nine. That was because I couldn't mobilize ranked mercenaries in China with my personal name, but the title of Eric the Leader could do it. Damn. So after all this, you weren't only provoked and deceived by this old man, but you were also his puppet. Nice job. Big Dipper gave 11 a thumbs up. 11, you're wrong again, Sibai said to 11 tauntingly. Aside from having the meaning of leader, Eric has an additional meaning in the independent state. The demon of vengeance, Eric. Eric, could it be? First Elder narrowed his eyes. Even Third Elder couldn't help but be surprised. What does he mean? Yuanwan asked First Elder with a frown. Yuanwan had always thought Eric was merely the name of a person. The Rose of Death. First Elder whispered to Yi Wanwan extremely quietly. The Rose of Death. Yi Wanwan was startled. What did this have to do with the Rose of Death? Wasn't the Rose of Death a fictional character from a novel written by the Nye family? They even sold the copyrights to her. Yi Wanwan was confused, but she couldn't express it. President, you should know about the Rose of Death. The previous Rose of Death's alias was Eric. First Elder explained softly, as though he was afraid to violate some taboo. This freaking Rose of Death title can be inherited? There's a predecessor? Is there a first term, second term, and third term too? The Rose of Death. They're also called the terrifying avengers of the independent state, because their power was too immense and affected the balance of the independent state. The independent state couldn't tolerate it anymore. As for the previous Rose of Death, I can't remember it very clearly, but I think I'm correct. I think they were called Eric. In the independent state, the previous Rose of Death was called the Demon of Vengeance. So this is what Eric means. First Elder frowned deeply. No one in the independent state would intentionally mention the Rose of Death or tell the truth behind the annihilation of the Rose of Death. Moreover, only a few people knew how the Rose of Death was destroyed. Yuanwan. So Nameless Nye was spouting nonsense? A novel he wrote, and he even swindled a copyright fee from me. Chapter 1857. Member of the Rose of Death, however. What Yuanwan couldn't understand was why Nameless Nye and the Nye family prohibited any mention of the Rose of Death. According to what First Elder said, the Rose of Death could be considered a taboo in the independent state, and many people didn't dare to mention it. So by impersonating to be Black Widow and creating a brand new Rose of Death, she was freaking courting her own death. First Elder, you said the Rose of Death was destroyed? Yuanwan lightly probed with a seemingly nonchalant expression. First Elder looked at Yuanwan and shook his head before whispering to her, I am not sure, President. The Rose of Death vanished without a trace for too long, so I personally think they were annihilated. But that's just my personal opinion. No one knows what truly happened to the Rose of Death. Yuanwan was pensive. When she impersonated Black Widow and recruited manpower after founding a new Rose of Death, she heard from the new recruits that there were remaining Rose of Death members imprisoned in the martial arts union. Could there be some shocking secret behind this again? Additionally, Nameless Nye and the whole Nye family prohibited anyone from mentioning the Rose of Death, and even went as far as lying to clueless people that the Rose of Death and Black Widow were all fabricated. Could it be the Rose of Death was connected to the Nye family somehow? Yuanwan mulled it over for a moment with furrowed brows before tossing this thought aside. It didn't seem to be related to her. She merely impersonated Black Widow and created a new Rose of Death, so she would just ask Nameless Nye about it when she went back. At worst, she'd change the name of her Rose of Death, as long as it didn't bring any trouble to her. Do you want to know what Eric represents? Sibai smirked. Once upon a time in our independent state, this title represented blood and death, as well as hatred and revenge. Even if you people have never heard of the independent state, you should have heard of the Rose of Death, right? The reason I was expelled from the independent state Sea clan was precisely because I secretly joined the Rose of Death. Pitifully, it was soon discovered by the ancient Sea clan. After I left the independent state, I always wanted to return to the Rose of Death. But the Rose of Death regretfully vanished without a trace and couldn't be found anymore. Hence, I actually used the name Eric so that the Rose of Death could discover me and allow me to return to the organization. Sibai glanced at them and shook his head. He had a lonely expression. Forget it. You people are merely frogs at the bottom of a well. How could you know what the independent state is? Sibai turned to 11 again and smiled faintly. Old 7, do you know it isn't just you? I granted the title of Eric to Old 2, Old 3, and Old 8 too, but unfortunately you people truly disappointed me. You're an utter humiliation to the title of Eric. Chin Ruashi's eyes glinted, and she turned to Sibai. You can consider bestowing the title of Eric onto me. I won't disappoint you. Sibai smiled. Kill them first, and show me your improvement. Don't worry. Chin Ruashi surveyed Yi Wanwan expressionlessly. Then, without another word, Chin Ruashi slowly walked toward Yi Wanwan. During her time with Eric, she learned too many martial arts techniques, so she thought Yi Wanwan would fall from the first blow. Chapter 1858 Bro Flat Top of the Fearless Alliance, You 4, Get Lost. Chin Ruashi glanced at 7-Star, Big Dipper, and the two elders next to Yi Wanwan. Big Dipper frowned and turned to look at Yi Wanwan. Sis Wanwan, it should be fine if I beat this woman to death, right? Whatever you want. Yi Wanwan shrugged. Okay. After obtaining permission from Yi Wanwan, Big Dipper glanced at Chin Ruashi and snorted. Who do you think you are? Do you think a mere stray animal is worthy of fighting with Sis Wanwan? You're dead. A frosty glint flashed through Chin Ruashi's eyes, and she raised her right arm to fiercely hit Big Dipper. Before her slap could land, Big Dipper blocked it in an instant. Surprise entered Chin Ruashi's face as she looked at Big Dipper. Yi Wanwan had this kind of expert with her? Yeah. Where did a noob like you get the guts to talk big? Big Dipper ruthlessly pushed his right arm forward, sending Chin Ruashi flying back. Big Dipper stepped forward before Chin Ruashi could land and grab her ankle from the air, heavily smashing her onto the ground. A giant bang resounded as dust fluttered everywhere. Chin Ruashi's complexion turned deathly pale, and blood seeped out from her mouth. Oh! Sibai curiously examined Big Dipper. This person's martial arts skills absolutely didn't resemble a Chinese expert's. Chin Ruashi climbed up strenuously and looked at Big Dipper in disbelief. Where did this person come from? How could he be so formidable? Sibai, let me ask you something. Your lawless gang fought with the Fearless Alliance in the independent state and took many Fearless Alliance elites hostage. Where are those people now? First Elder suddenly asked Sibai. Sibai evidently started. These people actually knew about the independent state and the Fearless Alliance. Interesting, Sibai murmured as he stared at First Elder and the others. Old geezer, we're asking you a question. Didn't you hear it? Big Dipper mocked. I'm very curious as to who you actually are. How do you know about Fearless Alliance? Sibai asked. What? You have the guts to order Lawless Gang to attack the Fearless Alliance, but you don't even recognize the president of our Fearless Alliance? Third Elder questioned coldly. You're saying she's the president of the Fearless Alliance? Sibai's gaze swiftly landed on Yi Wanwan. Sibai knew old 9C Yihin brought Yi Wanwan back from the independent state. So Yi Wanwan also came from the independent state in the end. However, Sibai didn't know Yi Wanwan's identity in the independent state. Although Sibai had the Lawless Gang investigated, when Si Yihin first brought Yi Wanwan to China's Si family, they didn't discover anything or find any reliable information. Now, though, this elderly man next to Yi Wanwan claimed she was the president of the Fearless Alliance. Bro Flat Top. By phone. F Fearless Alliance. How could that be possible? Chin Ruashi turned ashen as she incredulously turned to Yi Wanwan. Chin Ruashi might not know much about the independent state and the division of power in the independent state, but she had heard Sibai mentioning that the Fearless Alliance was a topmost power in the independent state. In China, 10,000 groups like the Si family couldn't measure up to the Fearless Alliance. Chapter 1859. Some time ago, Lawless Gang brought the Fearless Alliance members they abducted to China, and one of the Fearless Alliance members broke through the defenses and escaped, leading to many Lawless Gang experts hunting them down. Chin Ruashi happened to follow the group to learn from them. That situation immensely affected Chin Ruashi's mind. A single member of the Fearless Alliance was absolutely dauntless in the face of a dozen or so experts from the Lawless Gang. The Fearless Alliance member faced them empty-handed and killed 4 or 5 people before dying in battle. After that, the formidable strength of the Fearless Alliance became deeply ingrained in Chin Ruashi's mind. Now, it turned out these experts in front of her were from the Fearless Alliance of the Independent State, and that elderly man claimed Yi Wanwan was the president of the Fearless Alliance. Why are you wasting your words with Sibai? Capture him first. Third Elder snorted and swiftly dashed towards Sibai. In the blink of an eye, Third Elder and Sibai's palms met, sending each other back. Surprise surfaced in both people's eyes. The other person's strength made them wary. I'm gonna fuck you up, old fart. Big Dipper charged forward. Seven Star also joined the fight with him. Sibai's strength was extraordinary naturally, so they couldn't seize him easily even with 3 people teaming up. First Elder, wreck him. Big Dipper shouted with confusion when he saw First Elder standing next to Yi Wanwan without any intention of moving. HN, just you 3 attacking will suffice. My bones are old and brittle, so I won't join the fun. It'd be better for me to stay by the president's side and protect her. After all, the president's safety is number 1. First Elder replied with a smile. Damn, aren't you too? Aren't you too unparticular, First Elder? Sis Fong needs your protection? Are you kidding me? Big Dipper glanced at First Elder with displeasure. If First Elder joined the fight, they would have seized C by a long time ago, all right. 11 froze in his spot and gulped as he watched the fight, dumbfounded. Was this still a freaking fight between humans? Those C family hidden guards were basically defenseless babies compared to these people. Master, isn't this too much? 11 reflexively turned to Yi Wanwan with a stupefied expression. You'll get used to it. Yi Wanwan answered quietly. Master, I also want to become as strong as them. Teach me, Master. 11 brimmed with eagerness. Yi Wanwan. When she wasn't drunk, she couldn't be considered inept, but she was a bumbling fool when compared to First Elder and the others. I'll teach you whatever you want to learn. Don't trouble the president. She's very busy every day. First Elder butted in. Really? 11 intently looked at First Elder. Are you as strong as them? Of course. I'm a lot stronger than them. Why else would I be the First Elder? First Elder retorted. Awesome. 11 promptly gave him a thumbs up. They're so fast. Is it like water walking? Their palm techniques are too frightening. Are they using Shaolin's 72 absolute techniques? Damn, that Big Dipper is fine after being hit by even though the wall shattered from his impact. Is that golden shell and iron armor? I want to learn everything. I want to learn all of these master techniques. First Elder froze and silently glanced at 11 before uttering, Scram. Chapter 1861st Elder was rendered speechless by 11. Is this guy an idiot? Water walk. Shaolin's 72 secret techniques. Golden shell and iron armor. Did he watch too many movies? Master, teach me. I've been a businessman on the outside for many years, but I discovered that I'm more interested in martial arts ever since I met Master. 11 wasn't discouraged by First Elder's blow and turned to Yi Wanwan instead. Yi Wanwan pinched her brows. Water walk, golden shell, iron armor. Right. 11 nodded vehemently. Do you know them? I also want to learn. Yi Wanwan sighed at him. If you really can't, how about you visit Shaolin Monastery and ask? First Elder wasn't the only one who wanted 11 to scram. She did too. Did 11 get too infatuated from too many movies and novels? Where could she go to learn those techniques? She'd be willing to throw all her wealth away to learn them. Big Dipper was fine after Sibai's strike despite the wall crumbling because his body was in fine condition and he had high endurance, all right? Golden shell and iron armor, PFT. If someone cut Big Dipper with a weapon, he'd still bleed and lose some flesh. Fine. 11 chuckled with embarrassment. Fairy tales were lies as expected. He thought these experts were like the ones he saw in novels and on TV. A loud bang suddenly rang out from nearby. Bai was having a difficult time fending off Big Dipper, 7-star, and Third Elder's simultaneous attacks, and he staggered back a dozen steps. "Sister-in-law, I have something to discuss with you," Bai shouted. Yi Wan ordered Big Dipper and the others to stop and turned to Bai with a sneer. "Speak." "Huh. I didn't expect Old Nine to be so lucky with women and actually kidnap the independent state's illustrious president fearless to China," Bai said. Yi Wan chuckled lightly. Those words tickled her vanity. Bai surveyed Yi Wan with a frown. He had miscalculated this time. He never would have expected Yi Wan to actually be the president of the Fearless Alliance, Bai Feng. Could it be that Bai Feng went missing for so many years because she got kidnapped by Old Nine Yin? No wonder the Fearless Alliance later turned into a pool of loose sand. The rumor that Bai Feng died had circulated through many factions, which was why he controlled the lawless gang from afar and launched an attack on the Fearless Alliance. He originally planned to work with various factions and overtake the Fearless Alliance in one move, then absorb the Fearless Alliance's power and strengthen itself. However, a starving camel was still stronger than a horse. Despite losing their president, Bai Feng, the Fearless Alliance was still frighteningly formidable, and the lawless gang didn't profit much. His original plan was flawless, and he just needed to use other people to kill Old Nine. Who would have expected Old Nine to get his hands on President Fearless? What was more aggravating was that this President Fearless probably recovered her memory already and regained control over the Fearless Alliance. This was quite tricky now. "Huh, Yi Wan. No, I should call you by phone. President Bai, I think there's room for us to reconcile," Bai said amicably. "Oh, I'm all ears," Yi Wan replied. She'd like to see what other tricks Bai could pull out. Chapter 1861 was raised by fright. When the lawless gang attacked the Fearless Alliance before, the lawless gang was also seriously damaged, but we abducted many Fearless Alliance elites. I'm sure President Bai is aware of this. As long as President Bai can let bygones be bygones, the lawless gang can become good friends with the Fearless Alliance still, and I can return those abducted Fearless Alliance elites to the Fearless Alliance. Bai proposed with a faint smile. Everyone in the Fearless Alliance knew that Bro Flat Top of the Fearless Alliance might be cruel and savage, but she was also very loyal and cared about her comrades. Hence, Bai was planning ahead when he didn't kill those abducted Fearless Alliance elites. If the Fearless Alliance was to return to its peak and sought them out for retribution, or President Fearless returned someday, they'd have this bargaining chip on hand and could negotiate with the Fearless Alliance. "Oh, is that so?" Yi Wan's eyes shifted. "Huh, of course, President Bai. Bai, keep my promises. I can also give Qin Ruashi to President Bai, so that you can address your grievances," Bai responded. "What?" The color drained out of Qin Ruashi's face when she heard that. "Qin Ruashi?" Yi Wan frowned. "It appears you aren't that sincere. She's nothing to me." "Damn, how can you freaking bring forward a random stray dog? Are you trying to mock our president?" Big Dipper shouted scornfully. A sense of overwhelming feebleness washed over Qin Ruashi as she looked at Yi Wan. Once upon a time, this woman named Yi Wan was akin to an ant in her eyes. If it weren't for Yihin, she could have easily pinched Yi Wan to death any time she wanted. Now, though, this so-called ant actually became a deep gorge that she could never surpass. She and Yi Wan. No, she was the president of the Fearless Alliance, Bai Feng. Now, were people from two entirely different worlds and dimensions. Yi Wan was the real titan now, and she had become a mere stray dog. Even Bai was very wary and fearful of this woman. "I will look for my people myself. As for you, a man who is scheming every second and minute and wanted to kill me just now, I don't think there's any point in us having an exchange," Yi Wan responded disdainfully. Bai's expression changed instantly. "Huh, so you're saying there's nothing to discuss, President Bai? Is that it?" A cold glint sparkled in his eyes. You can interpret it like that. Herr President, by phone I gave you a chance, but it's you who didn't want it. You insist on both sides perishing, so there's nothing I can do. I think it'd be nice for all of you to die here today. I might suffer from the Fearless Alliance's endless hunt, but you'll definitely die earlier than me. Seabai then whistled. A second later, a dozen or so men in black dashed out from the manor with guns in hand. Big Dipper and the other's expressions changed. He was a resident of the independent state, but he was freaking using guns? You're too fucking despicable and shameless, aren't you? How could you use firearms as a member of the independent state? Big Dipper angrily yelled as he pointed at Seabai. A member of the independent state? Seabai snorted. I was expelled from the independent state a long time ago. Moreover, I'm not in the independent state right now, so no one can control whether I use a firearm or not. Seabai, are you trying to scare me with these things? I, by phone, was raised by fear. Yi Wanwan walked forward without a hint of fear, a bone-chilling smile on her face. That you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.